What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to 5 million small businesses denied $10,000 EIDL grants. It is Thursday, April the 1st, and no, I ain't fooling. 2021, please do me each favor. Give this video a thumbs up, hashtag EIDL with your comments below, and don't forget, follow me on Twitter, guys. We are making a massive difference because of each and every single one of you. In fact, my Twitter following has grown by more than tenfold. Yes, tenfold in the last 2 weeks. And when I launched this new business before my birthday on Tuesday, April the 13th, which is less than 2 weeks away, it's going to grow another tenfold almost overnight, because I'll give you a clue. One of the words in the name of our new company has the word small. So it's going to be an absolute branding home run, knock it out of the park. Speaking of knocking it out of the park, Miss Isabel Guzman, who I was exchanging tweets with this morning, just announced on Tuesday, April the 6th, you're going to get an email if you've already gotten a loan. So pay attention to what I'm telling you here. We are hearing that there is no additional documentation required. This is not going to be another app. They're going to send you an email and they're going to say, congratulations. As a result of Ms. Guzman offering 24 months of working capital, you can now access another 18 months for a total of 24. So if you got a loan of 6 months of working capital, you're going to get another 18. If you didn't get anything and you're eligible, and the way they defined eligible the last time is you got to have a 570 score and you needed to be incorporated before the end of January 2020. Now, are they going to change it in this email on Tuesday? Maybe. President Biden is trying to overhaul the credit system and get rid of the 3 major agencies. They may do something very liberal. She certainly used her discretion in the last couple of weeks to our favor in a big, big way. So maybe they lower it, I don't know, down to 500, or they get rid of credit score requirements altogether. But for now, we have to assume that it's going to be the same. So if you have a credit score of 570, you incorporated before the end of January 2020, and you didn't get a loan yet, use that formula. Gross revenue divided by cost of minus cost of goods or services divided by 2. But if you already got that $45,000, to use that example, you'll now get a total of $180,000. So what's the math on that? 180 minus 45 is $135,000, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know about you, but would you rather have the balance of 10 grand or $135,000? Let me see. And by the way, it's a sliding scale. You can take 10,000, 50,000, or the entire 135 to use the example that I said. So ladies and gentlemen, one more time. You already got 6 months of working capital. You can get another 18 for a total of 24. If you have a 570 score and you incorporated before the end of January 2020, you may be able to get an entire 24 months using that 6-month formula that I just gave you. So that's absolutely, positively phenomenal. We also have the portal going live next week for live venues and restaurants. And then don't forget, you're going to get a $5,000 supplemental grant at some point next month. If you live in a low-income community, you've been cut in half, suffered a 50% economic loss, and you have less than 10 employees. So low-income community folks, which we have fought for tooth and nail for a year on this channel, stand to get up to 15 grand in grants, AKA that's free money that you do not have to pay back. Our friends in the restaurant and live venue business are going to get huge amounts of money starting this coming month. You got 24 months of working capital, whether you already got a loan or not, as long as you have that 570 score and you incorporated before the end of January 2020, unless they change the rules. Which brings me to my point today for a bit of a positive rant. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're following me on Twitter, you might notice a couple of new congressmen got involved in the scuffle last night from the Problem Solvers Caucus. I'm telling you guys right now, I know some of you are like, yeah. Roll up my pants. This guy's throwing me another load of bullshit. I'm telling you right now, we have never been as close to getting everybody the balance of the 10 grand they were promising. This is what I want you to keep in mind. PPP got extended until Memorial Day weekend. And I've been telling you guys, it's my opinion, based on everything I know, that Miss Isabel Guzman is going to use her discretion before Memorial Day weekend or the end of the PPP extension to give everybody, regardless of where you live, 10 grand or the balance thereof. Or Miss Isabel Guzman is going to come over the top with the help of Chuck Schumer, right, Chuck? And get the EIDL for Small Business Act, known as 513 passed. By the way, do a search on Twitter for EIDL or S513. It's up over 500% thanks to you guys. 500% increase in activity around those two names in the last 2.5 to 3 weeks alone. The third option, and I also think this one is very possible, is that President Biden, the man who yesterday in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, claimed to be a champion of the middle class. Unfortunately, President Biden, I don't know if you remember or someone has to remind you, wink, wink, nod, nod, that you have turned your back, along with the Democrats in the Senate in particular, right, Chuck Schumer, on the middle class. Because all this grant money, a total of $15,000 possible, is just for low-income communities. And as I said all week, all month, probably all year right now, according to James Rivera at the SBA, 9 million people, this is all public information, 9 million people applied last year for the EIDL program. Also public, and we've shared these documents with Ryder over at Skip, 3.7 million people got a loan. Average size loan, $65,000 for just over $200 billion loaned out. 5.7 million got a grant. The average size of the grant was about $3,400. Now that means that the average company that got the grant has 3.4 employees because we got 1,000 per. So here's the deal. If 9 million applied and 5.7 million got a grant, 3.7 million got a loan, whether you go by my poll results or even Ryder over at Skip, which is even less, or some of the major accounting firms, the most of those 9 million that are going to qualify for low-income community status is no more than 35%. So what's a third of 9 million? 6 million. I'm willing to grant you, Mr. Newsy reporter, who's a little timid at the moment. I mean, you broke the story wide open about the $271.6 billion cash pile that they're sitting on. That may have actually forced Isabel's hand to go real big on 24 months of working capital. But suddenly you're concerned that you can't verify 5 million people that are being screwed out of the $10,000. I just gave you the math. It's all public information. Call James Rivera, in fact, at the SBA. James, how many people applied for the EIDL program last year? Well, it was 9 million as of August. So it may even, in fact, be larger than that. But let us not forget, they ran out of grant money in the middle of July. So anybody after August was just loan money. So we have at least 9, probably closer to 10 million people. If only a third or 3 million are low-income community status, that leaves 6 million people that are in the queue right now. And so far, there is no portal. This grant money and or 24 months of capital is just for people that have already applied prior to December 27th. Now, the word is they're going to open a portal, and we absolutely hope they do, but not until they take care of at least 5 million people. Joe Biden, how many times have I heard you call Uncle Joe, middle class Joe? We're going to redo this economy and we're going to build it around the middle class. I almost threw up in my shorts last night watching you go on and on about that. I wanted to have a megaphone be sitting in the front before the Secret Service yanked my ass out of the crowd. I want to say, Joe, what about the 5 million people, 63,500 strong on my channel that are mostly in the middle class that you've walked away from? And here's the thing that they don't realize. Not only are they committing political suicide as far as I'm concerned, but when you take a snapshot of the middle income, aka middle class in this country, it's full of black, brown, Hispanic, Latino, Puerto Rican, and rural voters. And I live in Atlanta, as I've said this before, and I didn't get to this yesterday, but I need to get it off my chest right now. I know hundreds of small business owners that are black, brown, Hispanic in the city in and around of Atlanta. And I'm going to tell you something right now. They take enormous pride in the fact that they dug themselves out of poverty in many cases, out of a low-income community, got them and their families a nice house, 3.4 kids, scratching and clawing to build a business. Along comes the pandemic, and yet they're still hanging on, fighting, scratching and clawing and doing whatever it takes to make it through. And they're starting to see the other side of this pandemic, only to hear that because they have stood strong and kept moving forward, they're being denied the $10,000. So Joe Biden, Chucky Schumer, Let me tell you something right now. You want to lose the House and the Senate in 2022 when Nancy Pelosi retires? Keep doing what you're doing. Because you have millions of black and brown and Latino and tribal. We might as well throw them in, right, Jackie Rosen? Huge tribal population in Vegas, Arizona, etc. And rural voters. I grew up in rural New York. 2,500 people in my town, pretty close to the low-income community requirement. I'm telling you, the middle class is getting fucked over. Let me say that again in case you didn't hear me. The middle class is getting fucked over. This is the Great Reset. No one's going to convince me otherwise. I won't go on and on about it. But how can you explain to me Joe Biden and Chucky Schumer? We want an answer. We want an answer. How can you explain to me when you claim to be a champion of the middle class that you have at least 5 million people, many of them black, brown, Latino, tribal, and rural, that are getting the big fuck you? I know you've been in the queue waiting. $10,000 to a lot of you solo entrepreneurs, side hustlers, Lyft and Uber drivers probably save your business, wouldn't it? It would be a huge shot in the arm. So while we have to look from afar, and we're very happy that our low-income community friends are jumping for joy, there's at least 5 million people right now that are sitting there going, what the hell happened to us? I thought we were the backbone of this country. I worked as a Puerto Rican or as a black or as a mixed minority in this country to get myself and my family out of poverty. And I finally made it, in some cases, to high-income communities right down the street of Midtown and Buckhead in Atlanta, only to be told, eh. So Joe, Chuck, stop taking the black vote for granted. They have voted for Democrats over 90% for decades, and you think you're going to get away with it? Well, I'll tell you this right now as I get ready to sign off. I've been on a mission for 12 months. If these people don't get their money on or before Memorial Day weekend, whether it's Miss Isabel Guzman's discretion, Jackie's S513, or President Biden's executive order simply instructing Miss Guzman to honor the intent of the CARES Act as written, I'm going to make it my next mission as we fight for loan forgiveness to let everybody know in this country. And when we change this name, oh boy, am I going to have major inroads, not just to the SBA, but to every news outlet in this country. And I will remind them that it was Chuck Schumer who was in charge of the Senate, along with President Biden, Mr. Middle Class himself, that decided to not only walk away from the middle income communities, but stay away. And whatever ounce of help I can give to the other side to push your ass out, because not one single Republican has voted, nor are they required to vote to get this low-income community bullshit. And while we're at it, the economic loss nonsense out of the way. That was not part of the intent of the CARES Act. So until one way or another, everybody watching me right now gets 10 grand or the balance thereof, those damn caps go back to $2 million where they belong, and this EIDL loan is forgiven, because this is not the fault of low, middle, or high-income community, small business owners that were forced into lockdown. I want the damn EIDL loan this time next year forgiven so nobody ever pays the SBA a single dime. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, I love each and every single one of you, and thanks for watching.